Liberal leader Michael Ignatieff, who was with me in Ottawa and was listening to Neil as she was sharing the responses. And I was privy to your reaction to my monitor here. Vacillating Liberal got a bit of a stir. And the last response saying, bring on an election, got some reaction to. Overall, as you listen to that and to what you've heard from Canadians, what is your response to what Canadians are saying this morning, Mr. Ignatieff?
I think we always have to listen carefully to what Canadians are saying, and I'm grateful for those responses. The thing is that we're trying to make sure that this Parliament works for Canadians and that we hold the government accountable. They delivered an accountability report last week of 234 pages because we demanded that as a condition of support for the budget. There were a number of serious questions that arose out of that. What are they going to do about the deficit? What are they going to do about isotopes? How have they got this stimulus out the door? They can't ask me to vote more money if they can't tell me how they've spent it already. And above all, what are they going to do about employment insurance? Because Canadians are hurting. And so if I can get some clarity on those issues, if we can make some progress today in the meeting with the Prime Minister, that'll be good for Canadians.
Okay, well, let's talk about that in a little more depth, if you would, because that's a key moment in this story today. The meeting today, interested in some details. Number one, where is it taking place?
We're going to meet at a venue chosen by the Prime Minister. He initiated the meeting, so I'm going to go where he asked me to go.
Okay, but it's a secret location from our perspective right now. Is that right?
Let's not overstate. Hype this. I just think I want to respect his confidentiality. Okay. That's the point.
How long have you set aside for the discussions today?
Well, I think we'd certainly like an extended period of time. This isn't just a meet and greet. This is an extended discussion.
So if it's going well, is what I'm wondering. If it's going well, it could be open-ended if you're making the progress you're seeking?
That would be good. Yeah.
Okay. And what will your approach be? Will you be doing the talking or the listening?
We will be. I'll go into the meeting with some quite specific questions to put to him. I will want to get a good deal more clarity. We made a little progress yesterday. Canadians are very, very concerned, for example, about the isotopes issue and what plan the government has to manage a crisis that's really affecting the health and safety of Canadians. So he said yesterday he's offered to give us a written plan about how they plan to manage that. That would give clarity, I think, for doctors and patients right across the country. So I'm going to need to see that. I've asked him to get much clearer with Canadians about where we're going with this deficit. It's rocketed from 32 billion to 50 and going north, and Canadians really do have a right to know just where this government is taking them on the deficit. And then above all, he's put out a proposal about the self-employed getting some access to employment insurance. That's a very complicated issue, and I need to hear in much more detail what he has in mind, and I need a much clearer response from him about the thing that we've been saying for months and that Canadians across political parties, including provincial premiers, are saying, which is why don't we get a national standard EI for this crisis, because that's fairer and more equal way to help Canadians.
Okay. We were speaking, as you're probably aware, to Tony Clement, speaking on behalf of the government side just a few minutes ago, and the verb that he chose specifically was, we will explain. So, as you say to me, you're looking for clarity. It sounds like they're willing to explain, but I'm not sure that they're willing to move in the direction that you're looking for. You spoke last night of narrowing the gap on EI, for example, and that national eligibility standard is not part of the Conservative plan at this point anyway, and he said he certainly didn't think he could get there in the next 4 days. So is it just clarity you're looking for, or are you looking for specific commitments today?
Well, let's take everything either one step at a time. Explaining is better than what we've had before. We've had very little explanation from the government, so explaining is a good word. I like that word. We like that word. So let's get some explanations, and let's then see whether there are gaps that can be narrowed. I'm a realistic, we're realistic, reasonable people. I certainly hope the Prime Minister is too.
When you look at the 4 key issues that you have raised as wanting clarity, or on which you'd like some clarity, is it an all-or-nothing proposition? Does there have to be movement on all 4? Or is it chiefly EI?
We believe there has to be movement on all 4, yes, definitely.
Okay. And is it EI that you think will be the sticking point? Mr. Clement indicated that that was the issue that he feels there'll be the greatest discrepancy.
I think Mr. Clement is making the right assumption. That's, I think, where there is a policy disagreement of real substance between the Liberal Party and the Conservative Party, and then we'll have to see how wide that gap is, and then we'll have to make some judgments.
Okay.
But again, I want to get Canadians to see what we're trying to do here. I'm in opposition. I'm not in the government. Our job is to make Parliament work and hold the government accountable, to ask the questions of the government that Canadians want us to ask on their behalf. That's what we're trying to do here, and we've already made a little progress, as I say, and we hope to make more progress in the course of today.
And that's a word that you've used quite a bit, make some progress. So in terms of the bottom line here, what is the progress that you need to see to maintain your confidence in this government through this week and beyond?
What we have been seeking from beginning is just simple truth. What are you doing about isotopes? What are you doing about the deficit? How much money have you actually spent on stimulus? There was a tremendous game of smoke and mirrors last week about how much that government had actually got out the door. We still don't know. Canadians are entitled to know how much money has actually been spent of the money that we voted in the budget in March. That's a key thing. You can't ask a party to vote for more if they won't tell you how much they've already spent. So those are the areas where we're demanding essentially truth, and we're not demanding it for ourselves, we're demanding it for the sake of the Canadian people so that they know what their government's actually doing. Then the key policy issue is EI, and we'll have to see whether there's any possibility of narrowing the gap.
Okay, Mr. Ignatieff, I thank you very much for the time today.
Thanks very much, Heather.